Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, I'm continuing my gay movie marathon, and I am up to The Mudge Boy. Now, The Mudge Boy is one of those little gay films I saw on TV, because back in the day, you'd occasionally catch a gay movie on TV that you didn't know about, but then finding it again would be a nightmare. So I saw this film, it was made around 2003, and I saw it around probably about 2005. So it's been about 20 years, but I found it on YouTube recently. And I'm like, oh my God, that's that little film. There was a couple of scenes in it that I will never forget. And it was a little film. It was based on either a short film or a short story by a guy called Michael Burke, who directed this film. The short film or short story, I thought it was a short story in a compilation called Boys Life 5, but Wikipedia says it was a short film called Fish Belly White, which was featured in the compilation Boys Life 5, so I'm going to have to check that out. But I thought it was a short story, but it looks like it's a short film. And they just made it into a full film. It was shown at Sundance. It made a whole $62,000 on a $800,000 budget. It was shown on Showtime, so I don't know how it did view-wise, but it obviously wasn't made to make box office money. The film is about Perry, who is a young boy who is mourning his mother. His father has depression. The mother died recently. The boy and his mother used to raise chickens together, so he goes around selling eggs to people, making money, and he has a pet chicken that he carries with him all the time that he keeps in this little basket on his bike. He's a very nice boy, very sweet, very quiet. The film is very quiet. There's a lot of scenes where it's just country life and no one really talking and just going through the motions and that, and a lot of unsaid things in scenes. But this guy, he's kind of strange. People know that he says he's a good person, but they don't understand him. The local guys make fun of him, of course. But he eventually starts a conversation with a guy who lives down the road from him, who runs a farm. His father is very abusive. They end up talking over the cow, and then this kid, Duncan, just starts to see him as a person, and then there's a point where he has an opportunity to buy alcohol for these kids to sort of get into their group, and he gets in. There's some girls there as well who talk to him and that, and Duncan is kind of nice to him because he kind of starts to see him more as a person. But eventually they end up hanging out. They end up under a bridge with a train going over it, because they're swimming in the water under the bridge, and this is this little secret space this guy goes to and that, and there's a moment where he touches his arm, and he's like, what? And he's like, oh, it's like rock, isn't it? So his sort of ego gets off on it, because this guy's all about being masculine and doing women and all this stuff and doing girls, and he's always talking about his sexual conquests. He does have a lot of them. That seems to be all he does, and it's because he has a reputation of having a big, you know what. So eventually things turn bad though, and I really didn't see this coming because I didn't remember this part. But he's been wearing his mother's clothes, and his dad sees that as a shameful sort of transvestite sort of thing, or it might just be him trying to reconnect with his mother on some level, but he doesn't say he knows and has seen him trying the stuff on, but eventually he takes the stuff out to the barn, and then Perry takes Duncan out to the barn to show him his mum's stuff, and Duncan makes him put one of the dresses on, and then he starts calling him a bitch and telling him to say he's a bitch, and then eventually this goes to him forcing him to give him head, and then after he bites him, whether he did it on purpose or accidentally, he then rhymes with grape occurs. It's fairly brutal, but he does that weird thing they do where he's trying to tell him to say it's okay and that he likes it, because he's not trying to talk him into thinking it's good. He's trying to talk himself into thinking he's not doing something bad, which is what they do. And then afterwards, he's trying to get him to take the dress off, and then his dad comes and sees him with the guy. This stand there doesn't look like they've done anything, but he's wearing the dress in front of another guy, so his shame is now public, and the dad freaks out. He burns all the clothes. Eventually, Perry goes and talks to Duncan. There's an exchange where he says, we can't do this, it's queer, and he's like coming onto him a little bit still. He's like, do you ever think of kissing me? And then he aggressively kisses him, like, is that what you want, sort of thing? And then he gives him a little kiss, and then he gives him a little kiss back. But then he's like, no, we can't be friends. We can't see each other. This is queer. You're a faggot. And he leaves. They stop being friends. And eventually he sees the truck go past when he's in a store buying something to eat. And then when he comes out, his chicken is missing. And he goes around the side. And I forgot to mention this scene, which is kind of weird, because like I said, he is weird, and they have a few conversations, and at one point Duncan just says, you're weird, and walks off on him. He's playing with the chicken, and he says, did you know, and his mother taught him this apparently, did you know if you put a chicken's head in your mouth, it calms it down? And I'm like, that is the weirdest thing. Where did they get that from? Is that real? Like, what? I remember that scene. I thought that's the weirdest thing ever. And then later, when they have the chicken, they're fighting. He's trying to get it back. And somehow Duncan has outed him without outing himself. And they call him a faggot. He says, I'm not a faggot. And they basically keep keeping the chicken for him. But then Duncan takes it and gives it back to him because he feels bad on some level. But then he still calls him a faggot. He says, I'm not a faggot. And then he had a chance to leave, but then it's gone. And they're saying, show us how you suck cock, faggot, all that sort of stuff. So he puts the chicken's head in his mouth and bites it off. And I remember that end, because it's basically the end of the film. There's one scene after this. I remember that, and it was fairly traumatizing. So he does it out of anger or I don't understand what that was. Then he goes home, he's got the chicken's body, his dad sees that, he knows something bad's happened. And even though they, hadn't been talking and he looked like he was sort of rejecting him, he grabs him and holds him and he says, let me go. He's just like, no, he just keeps saying no. And that's the end of the film. So it's a really strange, quiet film. I mean, I liked Duncan at first. I thought they were kind of going to be friends. I sort of had relationships like that where I was sort of friends with people and got into groups I shouldn't have been in, and there was sort of that one person who sort of took care of me in the group. But I was sort of very abusive in that, and I never had the two together. So I was really shocked when he treated him like that, where like it was just really weird. But the acting was really great. The performance was really great. The father was, I think, was it Richard Jenkins was his name? He was the father in 6 Feet Under. Richard Jenkins, yeah. So he was really good. I recognised him after a little while. It's just a really good, weird little film about this really weird little character, and you sort of don't know, is it the trauma of losing his mother, is it living in a small town, is it being gay without any sort of understanding of it? It's just a really fascinating, quiet little film, and I'm really glad I found it again and finally got to sit down and watch it. But this is meant to be a 5-minute review. But yeah, I failed. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this film if you've ever seen it. If you haven't, see it. I think actually, though, the version I saw on YouTube was missing a good 10 or 15 minutes because the Wikipedia refers to some scenes at the start of the film, or things that sounds like are referred to, and the film was supposed to go for 95 minutes. The one I saw was 1 hour 20, so I think the first 10 or 15 minutes was missing. So I'm still looking for a full copy of it. And a better quality copy of it because I think it's only 360p or something. But I'm going to go.